having us this evening. My name is Mark Payne. I'm the director of this piece. I'd like the cast and the crew to just introduce themselves, starting on the end here.
I'm Jazz Dorsey. I'm the dramaturg on the piece.
Helen Olakete, Shoot Petaway, Assistant Director, Acting Coach.
Ken Bernstein, the light guy.
Elliot Robinson, the unmasked councilman.
Christina Kretchik, the white girl.
Chandra Walton, Madam President. Oh.
I'm Antoine Hamilton. I'm there.
Very good. We want to thank the cast and crew also.
My name's William Jenkins, South Java.
Absolutely, and we know that we've got an 8 o'clock coming in, and we must clear house.
Actually, I don't know what you guys have planned. The next thing we have coming in this space
It's
is
not
at
at
9:30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we have a talk back.
Yes.
We have a chance to talk and get the audience to ask questions. Sure.
All numbers and everything, you get them.
Guys, we love having you here. We're getting ready to do a full reading of this play at the Lucy Theater on Monday, the 17th of October, as the second event in a newly launched Metro Nashville Parks Theater Department's new play reading series, which will be unique in the country. It's the first year-long new play reading series sponsored by a city. And we are honored to have kicked that off last month with a play about Billie Holiday and to have been invited back with 9 Days in the Sun. In 2007, on January 1st, they say on January 1st you should send out an email and send out an email. You should do what you're going to do all year long. So I sent out an email announcing the founding of the African American Playwrights Exchange, and 4 years later I'm still rolling off of that. And we've reached a point where, in fact, we, just as of today, were invited to submit 16 scripts to a professor at Harvard University for a script evaluation class. So that's an amazing accomplishment. Yes. For the last 4 years, we've produced over 40 events, kind of like the thing you're seeing tonight, most of them in New York. It's very frustrating to me because the purpose of APEX, the African American Playwrights Exchange, is to do the work in Nashville. So now we're bringing it home. And these guys and this director and Helen and William and some other actors are going to give you Mark Clayton's Southern's play, which I refer to as a political vaudeville. It is the premise as William presented it. And then it is a series of vignettes on this new planet, okay? So it's very, it's a jigsaw puzzle. Mark himself says, figure out how you want to put these pieces together, and that's what the director and the assistant director and the producer are doing. But what we would like to do now is dialogue with you guys. And actually, can we have the house lights? And just take questions or comments or observations, reactions. That was pretty.
On the ground now.
You know, this is called 9 days. This is called 9 Days in the Sun. Okay, you just got the full kick. So, does anybody have anything to say in response to what they've just seen? I certainly hope so. Good question. Yes.
How long is the process you guys have been on? How long have you been working on this piece?
I think
Together in the same room.
it's kind of a challenge to get everyone together in the same room. In fact, we're going to start this piece as a staged reading, because we're really in the process of putting it together, wanted to give feedback and ideas. But then it came up with the notion of us presenting here at the Fringe Festival, which we thought was a great idea, just to so be able to get a little feedback on the process and what you all think. And so we've been working on this probably a good 3 weeks. And we may have had about 5 rehearsals in that. And I do want to take time to acknowledge the actors' hard work and time in this. One of our actors, Antoine, recently got the script this past weekend, so it was really tough for him to come on board. I think our first rehearsal with him was on Tuesday. And so he did a great job to just bring the energy and to bring the character as best he could to life. And we appreciate all. And all of those guys have done that. They've been, giving us their time and hard work and all that kind of stuff. But we haven't really been working on this for a long time, as you probably tell.
We've had one full read-through with people reading each part in the script, one full read-through. And 2 rehearsals with Antoine briefly and Christina together, and just we were ready to get rolling on a full schedule of rehearsals, but things, with involvement of each cast member and with creative staff, we could not do that. So now we are ready prayerfully to jump into a rehearsal schedule within the next week to be ready for the 17th.
Oh, hi. Was not, and I apologize for not being here for the preamble, but this is an observation that it seems like the premise of this play seems to be kind of taking bits and pieces from headlines and what's happening today. Like you said, yes,
You
your
go there.
intention.
You go there. You know, when Mark wrote this play, I asked Mark, why did you write this play? And he said it had to do with growing up when he did, when all the advertising on television used only white actors. And he referred specifically to advertising. And that the projection of America was that you were a white person, okay? And then you could buy products, and you could enjoy products, whatever, that's what we come down to. So this was written before Obama was president. Now that Obama has had his term, it seems to take a whole new meaning. If we had done this during the Bush administration, your reaction to what you just saw would have been different than it is now. Now we're asking ourselves, is this a commentary on us now? And it isn't because it was written before now, okay? It's a comment looking back, but it becomes, in the process of the evolution of our culture, it's going to take place in place that it didn't start out. Does that kind of
So kind of prophetic.
Prophetic. Absolutely, prophetic, yes. Yes.
I love the premise, this absurdist science fiction thing, the explosion, and that everything is turned out.
Everything is
To
turned
have that as
out.
the conceit and to go from there, there's no bullshit, it's just, this is the way it is, and now we see how this starts to play out.
And yet the psychological repercussions of racism as it existed before this are still in place. As you can see, this positioning between the different characters and Madam President's insistence, do you think it's a joke? Okay, do you think this is a joke? And I don't know whether she means that as a woman, as an African American, or for all I know, she's 3 parts Cherokee and she thinks she's an Indian. You know, we make an immediate assessment on the basis of skin color, and one of the things that I have learned just as I have developed my African American playwrights and actors and all this is that there are so many people that we call African American that are half Cherokee, that are 1/4 Irish. And how does that come into play in the psychology? Because the walls of racism we hope are falling down, but the mechanisms of racism still seem to be in place. Yes?
What does it mean to be secure?
Great question.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, I can speak to that. We were trying to make it something that they could play. And I came to the consensus that we were talking about secure, meaning that are you protecting yourself? Are you using contraceptive, the pill or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking that it means that whole notion, and because otherwise, if you're secure about something else, it doesn't necessarily jive. That's why they keep worried about that word. But I'm thinking that he was to make sure that she was, in fact, on the pill or diaphragm, whatever it was she's supposed to have.
My comment similar to that question. Secure, given life, what's going on with the sun and white people and black people, I took it to mean secure in the sense of a post-2001 America, in terms of everything that you send, everything that you publicly avail yourself to is a matter of what your intent for the national security is. So what, are you secure? Are you an offshoot? Are you a rebel? Because you're already a part of a subculture.
The thing that I find to be interesting, even about the security issue, is this issue of African American life. I don't want to get too caught up into this, but Troy Davis was executed a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago. And one thing about Troy Davis, and I'm getting in trouble for this, there's someone here in Tennessee right now, Gail Owens, who's sitting on death row. And I think the responses from the mainstream media concerning Gail Owens and Troy Davis are very, very, very different. Okay, then the responses are exactly different because Troy Davis is dead. And I say that not to be cruel, but I'm saying that to just be very, very, very candid. The value of Darren's life in this piece has more value because he can be above ground. So what Clayton Sowers, in my opinion, is saying is, in the world that we're in right now, the value, the price, the cost of an African American life is not that high. And it would take something traumatic, something catastrophic, to increase the price of it. And I think that's a sad commentary, but I think possibly the Troy Davis situation, I don't want to get too much into that, it's a commentary on where we are as a society.
And also, when Mark Clayton Suthers was thinking about this piece, and particularly about this particular vignette of the lovers, it's important to realize that he is stressing survival. They grow they have a relationship and attachment, but the female's main thing, her crux, what she's holding on to is survival for many reasons, physiological reasons, biological reasons. She may not survive. It's like when we have a legacy. So the attachment gets to sex, but sex is on the opposite end. On the main end and primary, it's a primary thing for her. It's about survival. Even though she does get to a point where there's caring within this relationship, but primarily, utmost and foremost, it's about survival. Because she knows that she is part of the group that is now walking on shaky ground. It's very precarious for her and for people that lack enough melanin to be able to exist. But remember, they exist below surface. They can only come up for a certain allotted amount of time per year. 9 days, only 9 days. Something that many of them are disfigured. And in the play as a production, those without melanin have to wear masks when they are above ground. And once those masks are removed, who knows what has...
See, even that's incredibly profound. See, even that's incredibly profound.
Yes.
Even that's incredibly profound because African American men in certain neighborhoods don't feel really that secure. We can only be in certain parts of it. Ain't 9 days either. So I just think even there's an analogy about that Clayton Salvage is saying subtly about the state and where we are with race relations. Because I don't, for me personally, one of the things that, and let me comment on this too, because some of them was put out here. One of the reasons this play reading is taking so long, and I take full responsibility, it's because of me. And the reason that is when I try to cast these things, I try to bring together a diverse group of people. And the challenge that I have a lot of times, and this has to do with the separation that happened with us, with the enslavement of millions of Africans in Africa and brought to this land, is African Americans have a difficult time working together in groups. So because we have different ways that we deal with each other and different subgroups. So when I do a play reading, I want it to be all different kinds of people. People that haven't worked together, people that have worked together, people that are in the middle. And it's very challenging. So Clayton Salvers even touches on that because if you look at the portrayal that Chandler Walton gives of Madam President, is she stereotypically African-American female, as we say, or is she not? Some people would say yes, some people would say no. The way that it's written, it doesn't appear that it's
Well, let's back up too. I mean, the play begs for diversity, obviously. The
Exactly.
play begs for diversity. And the fact of not working together after, I just gotta say that. There might be folk have different agendas.
Exactly.
You know, different schedules.
Exactly.
Et cetera. And, I mean, once we can, you know, once there is a group together,
Exactly.
whether it's diverse or of the same ilk, then work is in progress. It's about the progress of it. I just have to say that. So, and I think that that's a wondrous thing to have all the diversity.
Let me somewhat that little debate by saying as founding executive director of the Theater Company of African Americans, I ain't got that problem. But my question
It's about scheduling.
was for Jazz, since you dialogue with Mark himself personally about this piece, the premise is off the hook because it speaks to a lot of cultural fears. It speaks to a cultural biblical fear of Armageddon. And I was just wondering in your dialogues with Mark, did he ever just, and I'm sure knowing him and knowing you, that he flat out addressed his undercurrent of the premise that it's basically just another twist on Armageddon. And all I fear is that the African Americans fear of Armageddon not happening and we not really being in charge, because in reality, Obama or not, we in charge. You know, the Eurocentric culture's fear of biblical Armageddon and them not being on the top. It says in the word the Bible should be the top.
Well, actually, I think as of last week, Facebook.
I was just wondering how Marcus rested.
Well, I think that, you know, there are so many questions, and we can toss different theories around. Mark Clayton Southers will be present in Nashville at the Luby on October 17th.
Oh, man.
And I think that that is where we should wrestling, you know, as we work this in progress, and that I welcome and please encourage you to come out and speak with him personally about why he penned these words.
Well, I can say that.
And he has answer for
And
him.
I can't be there. If you ask him that question,
And
call me and tell me.
yeah, talking to him,
You know,
you
I
know,
spoke to Mark about a good hour or so on the phone, and we talked about this piece. And his whole underlying meaning behind this whole thing of the juxtaposition of the races and so on and so forth was to use it as a device to isolate the ridiculousness of racism. And how ridiculous things are. That was my whole, right, that's my whole notion with this whole piece anyway, is how crazy and ridiculous and stupid racism is. And how people treat one another, you know, based on what they look like, their sexual orientation, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, question for the two actresses. Did you all find that because of the sort of swapped race roles, that it was easier for you to take charge of that situation and act that sort of like matriarch, and was it easier for you because you were pretending to be, I don't know, the disenfranchised party? Was it easier for you to play that sort of a weakened female role?
I don't know, because we kind of discussed it, you know, during like what type of roles, and then I talked with Jazz, and he gave me the idea of a Felicia Rashad type meets Suzanne Summers. And I thought that was hilarious, because, you know, you see Felicia Rashad as this strong woman, you know, regardless married or not, she's just a strong woman. And Suzanne Summers, this cute, bubbly, she doesn't mean to do anything wrong, and, you know, so I put that in my head. I didn't want to be overly, you know, overly aggressive, because I didn't want to be the angry black woman. And I felt a camaraderie with her because she's my age, she's been with me. So I don't think it was hard. It was a stretch. It was a stretch, but I don't think it was too hard.
I liked the analogy of, and we did talk a little bit about, like, so what is this relationship, and kind of that whole, you know, is it just that I kind of really get under your skin? And she was, you know, it was like, I think I have some kind of respect for you, and I was like, but I have to wear a mask. You know, so, you know, what kind of, if you are looking at somebody that has to wear a mask where you're not really seeing their whole face every day, how does that change the way that you would view them? And so we were, had a little bit of back and forth about that, but yeah, I mean, it was very much, you know, she, it's a really interesting place to go to think about what that situation would be like, and kind of doing that, you know, but doing that role. But I've been, you know, with other people before, where it's like, okay, you want that? Yeah. You know, I mean, I think we've all had work situations like that.